Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Sweet Trip's You Will Never Know Why. This was Sweet Trip's third album, released in June 2009. So Sweet Trip is a pretty experimental band from San Francisco, California, and their sound is a mix of a few different genres. And first I just wanted to quickly talk about the group's previous album, Velocity Design Comfort. This was released in 2003, and it was highly acclaimed and is probably the group's most respected work. It has a very unique sound that's a mix of shoegaze, IDM, and glitch pop. It definitely sounds pretty ahead of its time for 2003. And even though I like sections of the album, honestly it's never quite clicked for me. I think its sound is just a bit too ambient and glitchy for my taste. And I think I respect what they were doing on that album more than I actually like it. But this album right here, I actually like a lot more. It's a lot more straightforward. It's basically just a dream pop album, but it's extremely well executed. Now I'm not exaggerating when I say this might be the most relaxing album I've ever heard. It has such a mellow and easygoing vibe that just really calms me down. I'm personally very glad they changed directions between Velocity Design Comfort and this album, because it really works for me. So there's some truly stellar songwriting here. It's mostly that the melodies on this album and the guitar and the vocals are so pleasant and soothing on the ears. So this band actually has two vocalists, a male vocalist, Roberto Burgos, and a female vocalist, Valerie Cooper. And it's pretty charming hearing them trade off vocals in many of these songs. I think having a male and female vocalist like this makes the band pretty unique and helps to keep things fresh. Also, the guitar and electronic melodies here are so evocative. They create a pretty nostalgic and kind of romantic atmosphere. You know what this makes me think of? This album's kind of like you're remembering a girl you used to go to school with and you used to be friends with that you had a crush on, and one day she just moved away and you never saw her again. I know that's a strange description, but that's kind of the picture this album paints in my mind. So let me talk about some of the songs on this album. The songs here are pretty consistent, even though I think there's a slight dip in quality towards the end. The opening track, Conversation of Two, really sets the mood for the entire album. Roberto and Valerie come in trading off vocals, and you can immediately tell this isn't going to be another Velocity Design Comfort. So yeah, it's just an extremely mellow, relaxing track, and pretty much the whole album sounds this way. Now track 2, Air Supply, has got to be my favorite track on the album. I remember the first time I heard this album and this track came on, I was kind of blown away. For me, it's the most evocative song on the album. It starts off with this really catchy electronic melody and goes into this amazing guitar-driven section. And the song stays this engaging the whole way through, incorporating some fantastic vocals from Valerie and Roberto. The track Acting is another highlight. At 7 minutes, it's the longest track on the album, and it's kind of progressive. It features odd time signatures and this amazing extended interlude at about 4 minutes in. Milk features prominent vocals from Valerie and is pretty guitar driven. This has a pretty melancholic feeling and some very poignant vocal lines from Valerie in the verses and chorus. Now I don't want to repeat myself and talk about every track, but a lot of the other tracks also have this very mellow, well executed dream pop sound. Forever, Darkness, and Pretending are all very well written and continue the feelings that were laid out from the beginning of this album. On this album, Sweet Trip combines the feelings of happiness and melancholy in a way that Weezer does when they're writing good songs. Not that this album sounds anything like Weezer, but it sort of gives me that same feeling. Now towards the end of the album, there are a few tracks that fall short of greatness, namely No Words to Be Found and Misfortunes Are Cruel. These tracks aren't bad, but they really just don't grab me the same way as the earlier songs do. The melodies on No Words to Be Found just aren't as well written, and Misfortunes Are Cruel sort of has a more electronic sound, whereas I prefer the more dream pop side of Sweet Trip. Now the last track on the album, Female Lover, is the only song on this album I legitimately don't like. It's actually a hidden track, but it's still part of the track listing, and this honestly just sounds like a Velocity Design Comfort reject. It sounds very out of place here. It's not dream pop at all, it's an electronic track, and it reminds me of the parts of Velocity Design Comfort that I like the least. I don't really know why they decided to include it here, because like I said, it feels out of place, and the previous track, Your World is Eternally Complete, actually has an air of finality to it. It would have been the perfect closer for this album. But overall, no other album I know of sounds quite like this one. It has a pretty unique mix of romantic and nostalgic feelings. I'm gonna give You Will Never Know Why a 7.8 out of 10. It's not a perfect album, but definitely one I go back to a lot because of some of the stellar songwriting here. If you like really chill dream pop music, you're gonna want to check this one out. Well guys, thank you very much for watching. If you heard You Will Never Know Why, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. If you want to see more reviews like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.